All right, so tonight we are changing the power steering fluid. Gonna try to flush it out. This stuff is gritty and dark. Not like the darkest ever, but let's see if I can get a few drips. You can see it's gritty and it's gross. So we're gonna drain it and then fill it a couple of times with this AutoZone. This stuff is Dextron compatible. I don't know what Dextron is, but I know you need to have fluid that is Dextron compatible. And there's 1, 2, 3, now clear up to like 5 and 6, but their computers at least said this meets the OEM requirements, specifically stating it was Dextron 2 compatible. So anyway, and what I'm doing under here, get under here and show you, I am gonna pull this, let's see, taking this is a 7mm, which apparently is a random size. I had to go borrow one. I've got a set that goes like 4, 5, 6, 8, that skips 7, and then my buddy's, his set did the exact same thing, but I found in a random drawer, you know how things get discarded, I found a random number 7, and this was almost a strip, but we're going to pop it out and drain it into our drain pan. And after it drains, we're going to start flushing through with the car on. We're going to start flushing through fresh fluid and just allowing it to continue to drain. And we're going to be turning the wheel from the right, left to force that new stuff into all the nooks and crannies, and keep doing it until this starts to run out clear or translucent at least. So that's what we're going to do at this point. Okay, Lizzie's here helping again. Link's going to be turning the wheel back and forth for us. We got the nut pulled, the plug pulled. It did not come out very easy. It had thread lock on it, but you can see this stuff is draining, and you can just see that it's black. I mean, it is just black and nasty. And so to get it pumping a little faster, we'll turn on the car and start twisting that wheel from left and right, from one extreme all the way to the other. Probably get some squeaking going on, but that's what we're going to do. And once our reservoir is drained, so our reservoir is draining, but not very fast. Once our reservoir is drained, we'll start flushing the clean stuff through. Okay, we good? So we flushed it with 2 full quarts until it started to come out relatively clean down here. And as we turned the wheel back and forth, it would bubble in here, and it would kind of bubble and spurt down there and spit out new chunks of black, and not really chunks. So I'm gonna just hit this one more time in here, just try to get all the leftover crap out of there. There's probably an easier way to do this, but see, it's a little bit more translucent now. So I'm just gonna hit this one more time. Then we've got 1 quart, which I think should be enough to hold, but we're gonna plug it back up at the bottom and then start to refill, and then Link's gonna turn the wheel. So we're gonna pause and we'll come back when we're doing that. All right, so we've got, we filled our reservoir back up. It filled up in about 3/4 of a quart. The last quart we put in has a stop leak, and we got a very, very slow leak coming from somewhere in this power steering system, and I think it's coming from right underneath our reservoir here, where there are a couple of hoses hooked. That's where I think it's coming from. So if this can't stop it, we'll have to pull that reservoir and probably put new hose clamps on the bottom, or maybe it could be a crack in the reservoir. It only drips like once every 24 hours, so I don't know, it's hard to tell. And then our plug, let me get under here. Let's see. Our plug went a little bit farther up before it got tight. I didn't dare tighten it anymore. It's around and around. when we pulled it off, it had thread lock on it. I didn't put new thread lock on because we barely got it out without stripping it, and I don't want to mess with it. So it went up until it got tight, but it didn't get super tight. It just cinched down a little bit, and I left it. And we'll just watch it for the next few days and make sure there's no leaks. And then every time I drive it for the next week or two, I'll check it and make sure that that's not like rattling out of there or anything. If we need to, we'll just pull it again, put some thread lock on it, and put it back up in there. We'll whatever we need to do. Filling the system back up doesn't seem to be too hard. It was turning. Let me get up. It was turning really nice. From when, I'm not sure, we'll see if I'm just dreaming, but when we first started it up and started cranking that wheel back and forth, it was really hard to turn. As soon as that new fluid hit, it eased up a lot. I mean, this is jacked up a few inches, and so there's not the full weight on these tires, so it should have been easy to turn. We'll go take it out. We'll get it off the jack stands. We'll unblock our tires. We'll take it out for a spin and see how it goes. But as of right now, that reservoir is filled. I expect it to drop a little bit more and some air bubbles to come out of it, but there we go. Power steering, at least amateur flush.